back to task worker. So what were we doing on task worker? We have, it was so successful that I thought it was not working. So quickly grabbed the task and removed it from the queue, put it in a different queue, and then removed it from that queue so fast that I thought it was not working. But it was. We see the result of that. So, right, so we're using the blocking lmove command to move it to our temp queue. Then we are saying, okay, we got the task, and then to do, we'll do something, and then we quote unquote finish the task. And then once the task is finished, we remove it from the temp queue to like clean up. Later down the road, we could potentially, hey, Martinator. Oh yeah, that's one of my little follower emotes. Sabin Love. There's actually another one, which is also Sabin Love with a different capitalization. I wanted to swap them out, but Twitch was being difficult about that. So you can upgrade from Sabin all caps love to Sabin normal capitalization love if you subscribe. All right, anyway. All right, so what am I doing? I guess the thing to do now is actually do the work. So what is the work? What are we doing here? Right. So we quote unquote got the task here, but we didn't really get the task. We got the task ID. So let's clarify that. So we'll say we have the task key, I think is what we're going to be passing around, right? So let's see. How do I... Let me pull my key map back up. How do I get function keys? That's under... Is it this one? No. Is it numpad? There? All right, and then F2. There we go. Oof. So many layers. All right, so I wanted to call this like task key. There we go. Right, so that's what we're passing around here is the task key, right? And then what we need to do is we actually need to get the task, which is a separate record that is going to then tell us how to actually do the work. Maybe. All right, so let's see. Okay. Now I have to actually type stuff, huh? Get the task data, correct. So much typing there. Copilot saves me. All right, so let task data, what is this doing? It's doing a get. I don't think that's right. What does that do? What does that get do? That gets the value of a key. If key is a vec, this becomes an mget. Let's pull up the docs really quick. Because what the record that we are pulling up is it's a hash with keys and values that are going to be like all the things for the task, like defining what the task is, like what service to call, so on and so forth. I have too many things open. So what does get do? What does get do? Okay, it gets the value of key. Great. If key does not exist, special value nil is returned and error is returned if the value is not a string. Get only handles string values. Okay, cool. So the hover text, the docs, when we were looking in the Rust code, we're talking about also an mget. What is an mget? Also, we probably... What is an hget, actually? Returns the value associated with a field in the hash stored a key. Okay, so if we wanted to get a specific field inside of a hash, inside of a key, inside of Redis, inside of this computer, we can use hget. What is mget then? Mget returns the values of all specified keys. For every key, it does not hold a string value. It doesn't exist. Okay. So it safely returns the value of the key, but it doesn't help us if it's a hash. Is there a way to get everything from a hash? hgetAll, maybe? Returns all the fields and values of the hash stored a key. In the return value, every field name is followed by its value, so the length of the reply is twice the size of the hash. Okay. So hgetAll looks promising. Okay, hgetAll. Alright, and if I save this, then we'll get an updated... Okay, Rust Analyzer, what are you doing? Okay, what is let's look at hgetAll here. Oh, we explicitly have a string here. That's what's wrong. So I've seen this like every time I'm looking at like a stream where someone else is doing Rust, and of course here as well. You have your IDE, your editor, whatever you have set up. It previews like the data types, right? But it gets really awkward when it's sometimes hard to tell. And maybe this is just like I could probably change some settings somewhere, like the theme, right, to make it clearer. What is a pincer? Well, it's in chat. You could catch it. Anyway, type annotation needed. Yeah. Because it doesn't know what this type is. What is a suitable type here? Can we look at more information about hgetAll? It doesn't know. Key command arg. Let's pull up the docs for the crate. I don't think I have that open. Well, maybe I do. Yeah, it's right there. Okay, Redis, basic operations, low-level command. So what we're doing is a high-level command, where we're using hgetAll in this case. Type conversions. So here we go. Here's hgetAll. This is what I was looking for. It's like an example of an example type, and so this wouldn't be the right type for us. Probably what we want is like hash map string. I suspect the data is all going to be strings. And I guess at this point I have to start actually thinking about what the data is in there. Okay, import that. All right. Okay. So, yeah, I guess I could do that too. Sure. Cool. While I'm thinking, I guess I can also rebuild this, and we can actually see this working at this level. We'll just need to make sure to actually have. We do have a key that has a hash map in it. Hash in it. So we can look at that. So the key things here are the task record needs to have the service that we're going to call in some way, and or maybe it's just the HTTP endpoint, right? We could have the task record actually just have the URL to call. Now, there are downsides to that. That's what I was thinking of, is that in the real world, you might end up in a situation where then you're gonna have to like patch up those values should something change in like where things are deployed. Like the URL changes to the service, right? So now either you need to have a backwards compatible thing, or you need to, like, there might be a migration period where you have to worry about old values being wrong. But of course, if you just had like the name of the service for the task, the name of the service might change as well. You know, everything is subject to change. So it's just how things go. All right, we have a task worker, and we have a task. Okay, so we have a couple of keys and values in the hash. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go back to this workbench thing, and we're going to, can I copy? There we go. All right, and paste. And what we're going to do is we're going to put in, was task :1. So we're going to say, hey, there is a task record, right, called task :1. That's the key to a hash. We're going to put that in the task queue. We're going to run that. There we go. So it said it got task key, task :1, and then it got the data. So it successfully retrieved the hash. And this is the representation that was dumped out through the debug trait. And then we finished task :1. So that is a success. Now we actually have to do a real thing. So let's take our record here, and let's like mock up some data. So let's say we have a URL in this. Can I add more fields? There we go. So we'll add a URL. What am I using? I think I'm using URI in other places to refer to this, to refer to things. But I guess this would be a URL, because it will actually be not just an identifier, but a locator. In other words, a way to get to something, not just an identifier. So this should be a URL. And then the value will be, let's just say for now that it's going to be the actual like URL, right? So it'll be like, from the perspective of the container, right? So this won't be like localhost something. This will be, what do we want to have as a thing to call? Let me pull up Postman. So we also have one of our previous API calls as kind of a reference here. So here we go. We could have it call into the. This is an actual use case of the task service, is to call the silence detection API. Although this URL is wrong, it should be just like, yeah, thank you, Rust Analyzer. Let's pull this over here. There we go. And okay, so I think this should be good. So we should go with some slow typing here as I get used to my keyboard. Oh, colon / actually, let me pull up the Docker Compose so I can remember the name of the service. So the silence detection API is called the silence detection API. And it's listing on port 3000 because all of our services are on port 3000. And then I think the API, let's see, silence detection src main. So the route is defined somewhere. Hold on. Where is the? Oh, it's way up here. Okay. It's the detect segment. So that's the whole path. All right. Cool. So / let's see, Control V. There we go. Detect segment. Awesome. So that will be the URL. I don't know if we'll actually keep a name as part of the task model here, but the URL will be important. So this is how to get to the API that the task worker needs to call. And the idea of the task worker is that it's going to take an input payload and it's going to invoke this API. The API is going to return a cursor and some result with a cursor. Actually, how's that going to work? Let's say it has a result, and embedded inside the result is a cursor. Then I think, well, let's see. Let's do this. Let me see more, please, Postman. There we go. All right. I don't suppose. Yeah, I don't have a response hanging around anymore. I'm gonna rerun this so we can see what the response looks like, because I don't remember exactly what that looks like. All right. This will take, I think it took about 30 seconds. So what this is doing, it's in the name, it's detecting silences, right? So it's looking at the third track. Or wait, no, it's one index, isn't it? No, it's 0 indexed. I don't remember. I think it's looking at the third track of which is the audio track that has speech. And specifically it's looking at the this file from a couple weeks ago, and it's looking for periods of silence based on the noise parameter here. And so it took 44 seconds this time. So it found a bunch of things, right? And so we have segments and we have cursor. So I think what I decided I wanted to do was think about this a little bit more. Well, ultimately, what we want to do, right? What we want the worker to do is we want it to invoke this endpoint with some payload without a cursor, like this, right? So this will be some, I guess, some JSON probably inside of our task model, right? So let's take this. And we're going to add a new field. We're going to call this payload. And the value is going to be the whole thing. All right. Which should be a valid JSON representation. Yeah, it should be fine. Okay. So we have this payload and we have this URL. And then, so the task worker is going to get the task. It's going to run how's this going to work? Yeah, I guess it's going to, yeah, it's going to invoke the API. It's going to pass the payload. It's going to get back a result that looks like this that may or may not have a cursor. So like if I were to run this now, it would have a cursor because we're not passing in a cursor. So it would tell us, okay, move on to the next file. So it's going to take the cursor, if there is one, and it's going to invoke the API again. And then what it's going to do is it's going to need to take all of the results and combine them together and stick them back inside of the task record. So when this is done, we should expect another field in our hash, which has the result. And what we want is, we want to take, I think, so the thing that I was thinking was that in this example, the result would contain a list of lists. So here's a list of the segments. The result would be a list of lists. To be able to do that, we need to know where to look in the results for the data that we're interested in. Which means we need another field in our model here that is going to be where we're looking in the results for the actual data. So I think I'm going to call that data, let's see, data path, right? And then we're gonna have some fun because we're gonna find a JSON path. I could be lazy. I could be lazy and just have like a data key, and we'll require that anything that's like part of this ecosystem is going to have something in the result payload at the top level that is the key. Let's not make ourselves, pull in more dependencies if we don't have to. So in this case, for this task, the data key is segments. All right. Add. No, I just save. Okay, there we go. All right. So the ID and name are things that were there before. Oh no. So hey, I got a question, Martinator. Specifically about the Pokemon community game. So I see you've run that PokeCheck command. Does that indicate that Pokemon is not in your Pokedex? Is that what that means? It's kind of what I assumed it meant. Okay, great. You add it into your Pokedex? Huh. Ooh, I don't know what an Ekans is, but it's up for grabs. So does running the PokeCheck command also add it to your Pokedex? Or do you have to catch it? Oh, it's a snake poke. I think though that this is all the stuff we need to find. Not sure. Okay. All the stuff we need to find in like the task model for the task worker to be able to like call in and do the thing. Yeah, there is a Google Docs. I had that pulled up at one point. Right, because we have a URL to call into. We have a payload, and we have a data key to be able to understand the response. And what we're going to assume is that the cursor for the API is always going to be the same name. It's just going to be called cursor. Okay, so I think we have all the stuff we need here to be able to do the thing. You caught it. Congrats. So back to task worker. All right, back to task worker. What we need to do is make an HTTP request. Oh yeah, Foxy didn't catch it. That's too bad. All right, we're gonna make an HTTP request. How are we gonna do that? I think so. In an AI API, we were doing that. No, we were using this OpenAI dive, right? Did I? Oh yeah, here we go. There's a request crate that we're using elsewhere. I might just grab this. Let's see. That should be good. Those bits. And we'll add that to here. And Okay, where is symbols? Where are the square brackets? There they are. Okay, cool. And then curly brackets are here. The most important things. What's this coding? You weren't listening when you jumped on earlier. That's fine. Thanks for hanging out regardless. So briefly, yeah, doing some setup stuff makes sense. Let's see, we need sorted too, I think. I'll take that. Yeah, give me 1 second to organize my thoughts. And finish this one bit here. There we go, and that bit there. Cool. Save. Yeah, no, it's appreciated. But yeah, so briefly, overall, this project is something that streamers might be interested in, sort of. Although I don't have any plans on like making it a product or commercializing it or sharing it for that matter, other than like in the streams. But it's a tool for managing stream recordings. Is woefully underselling it. So the idea is, and it's probably helpful also to pull up the front end here, because it does actually have a little front end here. So like here's as an example, and I don't have a dark mode for this, so it's a little bright. But it's here's a stream from back in October, and it has basically the tool allows me to say. Actually, let's pull up another example thing here to give a little bit of context. You don't need to see my whole disk. So videos, OBS. So I have like 3 terabytes of video from all of my streams. And so basically what I do is every time I stream, I also record locally what I'm streaming. And with like separate audio tracks for speech versus the music versus the game sounds. And so it's a lot of data, a lot of interesting stuff. And one of the things the tool does is it lets me grab all the metadata about the stream, all of those video clips. Here, video clips are just like the files on disk, all the metadata. And, well, what am I going to do with that data? Well, the tool is supposed to do a few different things. So one of the things is to just track all of those video recordings, to be able to generate a set of episodes, to basically looking at where the breaks are in the stream and make suggested episodes for uploading to YouTube, transcribing what I'm saying, speech to text, providing an interface to like review that transcription, providing automatic summaries of the episodes using GPT-4. Some other things that I've not really touched on yet is like interfacing with chat as well, and doing like more Twitch chatbot stuff to be able to like capture chat messages and have that as additional metadata. And then we get into more like AI stuff where we're doing like flagging areas of the video that are interesting, generating highlights, generating chapter markers for the episodes in YouTube. A thing that I've been doing manually, which is like taking all of my local recordings and archiving them in AWS, because I'm running out of disk space. And then one of the things that I do want to do is like, this tool is not going to do actual video editing. It's going to like gather all the metadata and identify information and like do all of that. But then the actual video editing is going to be, I'm using DaVinci Resolve when I do video editing. So the idea is that the tool is going to generate a file that I can import into DaVinci Resolve that will then like have preset up the loading of the files and the chapter markers and transitions and all the stuff that I want to do, and just do it automatically. So that's what I want the tool to do. And we're, just a few weeks in, a few dozen hours into the project, that it's going to be, I don't know. I'm not, I don't have estimates for how long all of these things are going to take, let's say. So it's just going to be, we're going to play it by ear. We're going to do it live. As we go. Okay, so that's the high-level summary, which I think is kind of where your question was coming from, Arnir. And we have an ad break. So, sorry for the ads. If you got an ad right now. But give folks a chance to come back from that. All right, so I'll use this minute or so to do a little thinking. All right. See, this is where the tool should identify more silences and then identify this area as a potential breaking point for an episode. Or to be edited out. That sort of thing, right? So that is the kind of thing I would like to automate, because why would I do something manually and spend a few minutes when I could spend dozens of hours doing something in an automated fashion? But jokes aside, I like coding. This is an excuse to play around with some Rust and do a project on stream. Kind of really from the beginning. There was an initial version of this with Django that I had started working on before I started streaming it. That is still hanging around. It's not checked in, but I still have the original one hanging around kind of as a reference. But yeah. Okay, so we added... Alright, looks like the ad is over. Good. So we added request and Serde to the cargo toml for task worker. So we should be able to do things here. Okay, so we want to probably look at the docs for request. Let's see, how do I view crate? Oh, that opened over there. Let's bring this over here. Okay, request with the W is an ergonomic batteries included HTTP client for Rust. And here's an example. All right, so we're gonna request. We're gonna probably post. We're going to do something here. Let's just try some things, I think. All right, so we will need the response. So let's go ahead and assume that we're gonna store the response. I'm trying to remember to keep my hands in the home row and in a good place on this new keyboard, so that I'm building good habits with my new keyboard. Hey, look, Copilot has a thing for us. It's not going to be a Git though. All of these APIs. So a thing that we did not put in the model for the task is the HTTP, the method. post or put or delete or whatever, I'm going to assume that the API contract between the task service infrastructure and these APIs is that it's always going to be post. Might change that later. If so, we can do that. So we're going to get the URL from the task data. This actually is right. It guessed right. We're going to await. We're going to expect as well, because we're just going to, if anything fails in the service, we're just going to panic. We're going to do that kind of just like, we're going to set things up so that if anything fails, we fail in a way, we're going to bail out. We will have the, I don't know how to make this go away. Let's look at the output here. What's going on here? Speaking of panicking, the something inside of Rust Analyzer is panicking for some reason. Maybe I can restart. Okay, I need to figure out. There's Control-Shift-P. That is, should probably use my other Shift key for that. Restart Rust Analyzer. There we go. Maybe that'll fix it. All right. Cool. Okay, so we're gonna have a response. It's not gonna be text. Can we just say it's gonna be JSON? Woo! What was that? Oh, the Martinator, you subscribed. Well, that is totally unnecessary, but thank you for the subscription. You now have access to my AI-generated emotes, including a very janky-looking dance emote. I don't know. Maybe that'll be the... You were stuck on ads. Oh, no. Sorry. Now, I'm pretty sure I gave you the explanation for the answer to your question before the ad started. So I hope you caught all of that. Regarding what all this code is for. Nope. Oh no. You didn't? In short, the ads took over. Oh no. I'm so sorry. Well, now you're subscribed. The short version is that this is to help me take all of my local recordings of the streams and turn them into clips and highlights in YouTube video episodes, like auto-suggest edits that I can import into DaVinci Resolve, do like AI things with GPT-4 to like help that along, to speech text transcription, yada yada yada, all the things. that is the goal, and it's going to take a while to get there, but this is a piece of infrastructure that I'm working on right now to make that happen. Is a lot of those things take a long time to process, relatively speaking, and we need like a task management thing to process those things on the back end. So right now, I'm making the task worker be able to call one of the other microservices based on what's in the task data. And what I was about to type was JSON, which should make it so that we get JSON. Cannot find function post and create request. Not found in request. Are you sure? I also wanted the founder's badge on your stream. Even if you banned me, the founder's badge is stuck with you for life. All right. Well, so far I've only banned bots, so you're pretty safe. Okay, so here's an example where we're using request client new. Maybe the example we got from. Oh, here's something good. Here's us posting a map. Okay, let me borrow this. from the docs. I think Copilot gave us the wrong code. I'm just saying because you only get up to 10 founders when you're affiliated. Okay. Didn't know about that. But yeah, there you go. First. I think Foxy must have that too then, right? Yeah. Founder, 1 month subscriber. All right. If you reach partner, you'll get a total of 25. Well, that is, I don't even know. I mean, that would be cool. And I wouldn't say that I would hate like doing this full time. Quite the opposite. But for me to quit my day job, I would need to like 1,000x more than 1,000x the number of subscribers I have right now. Well, I do enjoy my day job. I also enjoy the lifestyle that it affords me. Oh, you're a CAD modeler? Interesting. All right, so we need to get rid of the comment out parts here. Now we have a client, and we can do client.post. Bam. And then we're gonna make a payload. It's funny, I'm bad at freehand drawing. I mean, really bad, but drawing is what I do for a living. Yeah, I mean, it's a little different, right? Yeah, I like the emotes, right? So, like I said, they were AI generated, but I had to go back and like touch them up because like there were bits cut off and things that were wrong. So I'm sitting there. I really should. I actually have like a drawing tablet, like a Wacom Bamboo. That's okay. But, you know, sitting there, it's really hard to draw. Try drawing a straight line or a nice looking circle. It's not easy. Yeah, the animated ones are fun. Just don't look too closely. All right, so let's keep going, transforming this fake code into real code. Let's see. So I don't think this is right. Okay, so let's save, and we'll get some real errors. So the await is not a thing here. Nor is the expect. I think. Oops. Okay. Expected. I think we needed to pass in a reference. Okay, where is ampersand again? L. There we go. All right, and then remove the await. Request builder is not a feature. Okay, we're missing something. I guess send. That's what Copilot thinks is missing. See if it's right. It was right. All right. Okay, so this should make a post request with our payload. How is this gonna work? Think about this for a second. I think what we need to do to make this work is we need to take the payload from the task data and parse it and put it into the payload hash map so that we can then potentially add the cursor that we're going to get back. Because what we're going to need to do is, like, this bit here is going to need to be inside of a loop where we are, continuing the loop while there is while we're getting a cursor result in the response. and then we mutate payload to add that new cursor. Yeah, I think that makes sense. So like this bit won't be in the loop because we'll just keep the same payload. So let's figure out how we're going to do that. Can we... Okay, can we do something where we're getting... Okay. Let's see if we can get Copilot to write this for us, since I don't really know how to do this. Get the payload from the task data. Correct. Okay. So this is not quite right. So let's say we have payload string. There we go. Okay. So that looks helpful. Right? So we're going to get the string inside of the hash from our data from Redis called payload. I think it is actually called payload, right? That's what I called it. Yeah, payload. And that'll be JSON. So we have that. And then what we want to do is we want to parse that. and Copilot's just going to write this whole thing for us. So we have sturdy JSON from str, payload str, and then again we're using .expect here in all these places because specifically in this service, we want to just panic if anything goes wrong. Now let's save this to see if this actually... Okay, so we don't have sturdy JSON. That's a thing, right? I'm pretty sure I had that in a different cargo toml. Yeah, go away, Copilot. Let's get the card version. Yeah, Control W and then Control S, and then all right. Now we have payload JSON. All right. That still doesn't get us a hash map. Right, we don't know what the type is of the hash map because we're not doing things with it. So yeah, there we go. It knows the next step. If let sturdy JSON value object map payload JSON payload equals map. Interesting. Does that even compile? Sort of. Except not really. Right, so to set payload's a hash map, but map is a sturdy JSON map, right? So can we... What kind of methods do we have here? Is there an into? Would this work? That would depend on if there was an implementation of into to convert it to a hash map. Doesn't look like there is though. Okay, what other methods are there? One too many dots. There we go. Okay, contains key, into iter, to owned, append, clear, clone, entry, extend, get. Keys, values. So this is not going to work, Copilot. Can't just do that. I think it's Google time. All right, sturdy JSON. Well, let's look at the crate first. Crate, sturdy JSON. JSON is a ubiquitous open standard format that uses human readable text to transmit data. Yeah, we know what JSON is. Operating on untyped JSON values. Yep. Okay, we can get a value. We can get things. You know, potentially instead of a hash map, maybe we could just modify this, this value, right? Could we get away with doing that? We'll just get rid of payload. Could we take payload JSON and pass it to JSON? Is that supported? Looks like it might be. All right. It doesn't hate it. What if we wanted to modify? Let's just make sure. Let's see. There we go. So can I do something like payload? Yeah, I missed a Y there. That's fine. Let's see. Where is square bracket again? It's over there. All right. So let's imagine we're putting something inside of that. It would probably be something more like cursor. I'll just put something like hi. Does that compile? We don't have that macro. Let's import it. Here we go. Okay, doesn't like that. Cannot borrow payload JSON as mutable. It's not declared as mutable. Yes, of course. Let us make it mutable. Mute. Does that work? Okay, good. So I think Milcery has appeared in chat. Also, I think that this kind of establishes that we should be able to like add our cursor based on the response. So we're not going to do this right here, but we will do a thing. Let's see here. Can we change this a little bit? Yeah, from URL. That's probably a better error message. Sure. And then do .json. There we go. And then await. Is that asynchronous? It is async. Okay, cool. Failed to parse response JSON. So now we should get like an actual parse JSON response in response, and then we can print that like so. Except that's not valid because we don't know what the type T is here. Right, so can we just say it's a hash map? Don't know. Of string. How do you feel about that? Somewhere we need double colon. Is it here? Or is it here? Oh, okay. Can we save? There we go. All right, I made it happy. All right. Oh, and it okay, so we just needed the double colon here. I think I hit Control R instead of Control S somewhere, and it didn't save. It didn't update. And Rust Analyzer is unhappy with me again for some reason. I don't know why, but it's fine. All right, so now we have a task worker. That's fine. I'll leave that there. We might need that later. We have task worker that has taken us the better part of 3 hours to get this far, but that's fine. Learning all sorts of new things. Okay, so we're getting things from the queue, we're putting on the temp queue, and also getting the item ID, task key, rather. And then we're getting the task data, which is a hash from Redis based on the task key. Then we are getting the payload inside of the task data and the URL right here. We're posting the payload to the URL. What else are we concerned about that's inside of the task data? So we have the payload and we have the URL. We will need the data key later when we start looking at the response, but we're not quite there yet, right? So that'll be the next step. We'll be looking at the response and iterating, and then let me add some to-dos, actually, so we don't forget. So, handle errors is overrated. Iterate 8. Using the the return cursor. Okay. Yeah. So I did less than a week ago buy this Moonlander keyboard from ZSA, I think is the name of the company. Not sponsored. This is all Brainless Society's fault, who is a frequent viewer here on the channel, who mentioned this in a stream maybe a week or two ago, this keyboard. I guess it was a few weeks ago. And it seemed like a good idea at the time. And I think it will ultimately be a good thing. But I decided not just to switch to a ergonomic split keyboard, but to also switch to this Colmac layout from QWERTY. So it's going to take, I think, a good while for me to get used to this keyboard. And in the meantime, I'm going to be typing pretty slowly. So sorry if that... I feel a little self-conscious about it. Just gonna confess that, but it's just what it is. Okay, so we are eventually gonna iterate over, like, make multiple requests using the cursor, and then we also need to take the result and store it. So store, not the cursor, but the response. Store the data from, I always have trouble remembering where from is, where the F is. What is the, it was the data key, right? The data, okay, where is underscore again? Right there, data key into the task data, correct. As a JSON string of or something of an array in the data field. Okay, so that'll be the plan, I think, for kind of the next steps beyond actually getting this to work and seeing it actually call our silence detection API. So that's the next step, is to actually see this working. All right, so let's rebuild. Arrow, hey. All right, we're gonna see if this actually builds now. We weren't getting any red squigglies in here. Just lots of pop-ups from Rust Analyzer, but that's probably fine, right? All right. So I don't know about everyone else here. I see some people lurking in chat. I don't know about anyone else, but here on the west coast of the U.S., it is coming up on lunchtime, so that's what's on my mind right now. Also looking to see. So I think last coding stream we at the end we rated Uncle Scientist. It's kind of interesting. They're working on Advent of Code stuff, so that could be a raid target. I do really like the idea of raiding smaller streams. If anyone in chat has a suggestion of who we could raid. Let's see. I do also like looking at the web development tag, since that's what I'm streaming under. Ooh, someone's streaming TypeScript React gRPC. Check that out. Looks like they're AFK. All right. Well, the build finished, so let's check this out. All right, so we're gonna get Docker up and Redis. And we're gonna look at our task worker. So it's running. So we have all the data set up. We just need to add our record to the task queue. So we have that already done once. So we can, I copied the wrong thing. Oh, that. Okay, I think I could just run it again. There we go. So we see it. It got task key. It got the task data. Now, here's what's fun. Let's go over to the silence detection API. Do we see a request? We see stuff. We see a request from today, from right now. I think it's doing stuff. It's busy, maybe. Let's go back to the task worker. Okay, so we got a failure. Yay! All right, so failed to parse response as JSON. Invalid type map expected a string. Interesting. Oh. Right. So why this is happening is because I was being lazy. Okay, what was the error exactly again? It was invalid type map expecting a string, right? So in the response, we said that it's going to be a hash map of string. So I don't know what's going on with Rust Analyzer. I probably just need to restart. Anyway, what we said though is it's going to be a hash map of string, but the actual response is like string and then some kind of object, right? Because we have like a cursor key that has an object as the value for that key. So that's not going to work. Can we do something else? Could we use JSON as the type to convert into? Will this compile? We don't have any red squigglies, so maybe. Let's see. That is not the right key. Up arrow? There we go. Let's try that again. All right. So again, we're gonna probably wrap up the stream here in the next few minutes. Hopefully, with seeing this actually working, it's always a good way to end a stream is to have a victory, a success. But if anyone has suggestions for who we could raid, put them in the chat. Otherwise, who knows who I'm gonna raid, who I'm gonna send you to. Let's see. I don't follow a ton of people that are doing coding streams. Should probably fix that. Let's see. Game platform editor, client upgrade.net, MMO game dev, TypeScript game dev. We could maybe read this guy. Let's see what's going on over there. TypeScript game dev. So it's like web game dev? 2D MMO from scratch with web and mobile? That looks fun. Yeah, we can maybe raid this guy. I'll keep that up, see if that's an option. All right, looks like we compiled. So let's try it again. All right, so task worker is running. We should just be able to run this L push to push the task 1 onto the task queue. There we go. And we already, it seemed like we successfully have the task worker calling the silence detection API. So now it's just a question of, are we going to be able to get the response and see it and parse it? And this does take like 30 seconds or so to run. So it doesn't return immediately. That's the whole point of having the task worker make these API calls, is explicitly for that. There we go. Okay, and we got a response. And so we see in the response exactly what we would see from like calling the same API from Postman, where we see the cursor and we see the segments array, and it finished. And I'm gonna say thanks so much, everyone, for coming out for the stream today. Got some successes in the coding work. Thanks so much. It was Reggie, right? Reggie 1660 for the follow. And where's the things celebrating the new sub from Martinator sub. And Foxy Blue is always here to support. So thanks so much for that.